What's going on, guys? Moon3PO here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top rookies that you can find in this year's 2024 Topps Chrome rookie set. Now, we did get an official release date here. This set is coming to all your local card stores and local retailers on July 17th, which is about 2 weeks away. I did cover the whole checklist here. If you guys want to check out that video, link will be down in the description down below, and card will be around here somewhere. But this set here, as far as the rookies, is very loaded with top rookies and top prospects. So we're going to go over my personal rookies that you want to potentially keep an eye out for while you're purchasing this set. So with all that being said, let's dive deep into the video. Now, here is an honorable mentions list here. These are the players here that you potentially want to keep an eye out for. But in this video, I'm not going to go over too much into detail as far as their numbers and what they're currently doing. And obviously, when you're looking at it here, there are some big names like Junior Caminero, who's the 4th rated prospect according to Baseball America. I didn't put him here in my list because he hasn't touched the majors as far as he is currently dealing with the injury, along with some few other players like Jordan Lawler, Evan Carter, Jason Dominguez. I didn't put them in there because I wanted to focus on rookies who are currently up in the majors right now. Except for one player, which if you guys probably know who that is, but want to really focus on players who are doing stuff right now in the majors. So, for potential flips or maybe potentially long-term investments, which I do want to preface here, since we are talking about rookies and potential buying. This is not meant to be taken as financial advice. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a whole parallel set of these players. This is just, again, my personal view of these prospects and these rookies and potentially who I'm keeping an eye out for. So please do not go out and buy tons of these players' cards without doing your own research. The first rookie we're going to be covering here is Shota Imanaga from the Chicago Cubs. Now, he is a pretty interesting rookie here because he is a little bit on the older side. He is currently 30 here, entering his first major league season. Currently right now he is 7-2 with a 2.96 ERA. That definitely hasn't inflated just because he got roughed up by the Mets. I believe he gave up 11 earned runs or 10 earned runs there by the Grimace Mets. So that ERA has inflated, and we can take a look at it here a little bit deeper. But you can see here 14 games, 79th inning pitch, averaging about 9 strikeouts per game, only walking 1. So that is pretty impressive here, allowing about a home run to start. By an average for opponents is 242. The whip over 1. BABIP is 297. It's really close to a 2 WAR, and expected FIP and FIP over 3. So pretty similar there, and that's a pretty good FIP, and it's pretty similar to his ERA. So you can see here, as far as what he's projecting and what he's performing, he is controlling what he can control. Now, when we go to Savant here, I love Baseball Savant because it basically puts these numbers into a graph and seeing here where are they projected according to league averages. Obviously, you want to look for the Reds. The thing here that worries me about Shota, and you want to worry about him going forward, is the fastball velo. He's only averaging 91.7 miles per hour on his fastball. And in Japan, he wasn't a trailblazer like we're going to see another Japanese pitcher here on this list as far as of fastball velocity, and gave up a lot of home runs in Japan, which we're not seeing translate right now. But the fastball velo is a little bit alarming, and we can see that and kind of put a little bit of correlation into what's currently happening in June, because these are established major league hitters. There is a different talent level between Japan and major league level, and there are obviously adjustments that these hitters make. So when they're not sitting on, splinkers, splitters, curveballs, whatever off-speed pitcher that he may be throwing, they're going to sit on a 91 mile per hour fastball. And good major league hitters, wherever it's located, if he makes a mistake, they're going to hit it. So that is something here you want to keep an eye out for. But even with that as well, I mean, he's getting chased, he's getting whiffs, he's striking out well, he's not walking a lot of hitters. So again, these are numbers here that are all good. But for me personally, the thing that is making me worry here is going to be the fastball velo. And we can see, once again, the adjustment. So we can see here in April, had an ERA below 1 and 27.2 innings pitched. Was striking out hitters left to right, 28 walks to 3 walk, 28 strikeouts to 3 walks, with below 1. In May, same thing. He had 5 starts through 3 more innings. ERA went up a little bit, 2.67, 30 innings pitched. Same thing, 31 strikeouts, while the walks increased there a little bit. And then we can see here what he's done in June so far. Granted, this is inflated due to 1 start, but you can see here, again, a little bit of alarming. 6 ERA, 21 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts, only allowing 2 walks. The home runs, though, the 5 home runs, that is alarming because, again, in Japan, he was giving up those home runs. So for Shota, that is something you want to keep an eye out for. But again, coming over to Japan, he's going to have that international market. He is part of the Chicago Cubs. That is one of the bigger MLB markets here in the game, and he's pretty personable for being, coming from a player from Japan. Usually we don't see these players being very personable just due to the language barrier, but he's very personable. You know, we all saw the press conference here singing the Chicago Cubs song. So I like him a lot. He's fun to watch. He's fun to follow. And I think he's a player here and their cards market that you want to keep an eye out for. Second player regarding cover here is going to be Ceddanne Rafaela from the Boston Red Sox. Now, this might be a little bit biased here because I am a Red Sox fan, but I am pretty high on Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, when you look at Baseball Savant, they're blue. Like I just mentioned with Savant, you want to see red, but some of these numbers here could be underlining. And we could take a look at some of his projected stats here and see that maybe he's going to be due for a breakout here soon. What's making him up here and what, you know, makes him so special is going to be obviously his defensive value, obviously going from shortstop to center field. I see him obviously long-term, he is going to be a center fielder, but right now with the injuries that the Red Sox had at shortstop, he's been transitioning to both, but has been fairly well at both positions. Now, when you look at it from an offensive standpoint, right now, obviously looking at it here, not great. Only has 8 home runs, driven in 41, which, you know, under my news and notes here, does lead all MLB rookies with RBIs. So if you like RBIs as a stat, you know, he's driven in 41, which is leading all of the majors. Obviously, the big thing here with Ceddanne Rafaela, and we're going to see with a lot of rookies here, is going to be the walk to strikeout ratio. Has 10 walks and has struck out 75 times, which puts it at a 27.4 K percentage, which is obviously very high. The walk percentage is very low. It's at pushing nearly 4%. I always like to look at this, anything 10 or greater, that is what you want to look for. So obviously that's not going to translate to the on base percentage. The ISO low as well. You want to see that looking, you know, pushing 200. The BABIP though is at 315, so maybe he's just potentially getting lucky on some hits, but you know, the BABIP is what it is. The WOBA 294, you want to see that pushing a little bit over 300. WAR sitting at half a WAR, pushing 1. That's going to be obviously contributed to his defense. WRC plus sitting at 83. Anything over 100 is what you want to look for. And in hard hit percentage, ball he's hitting 95% or 95 miles per hour or harder is sitting at 35.6%. So has had a little bit of a slow start here, but you can see here since May 1st, he has hit 288 with 6 home runs and 24 RBIs, which is nearly half of that. So you can see here the last month here, he's really picked it up here and is a player that if you're going to be following, you know, to potentially see what they're going to be doing, is a rookie of the year favorite, in my opinion. Is a player you want to keep an eye out for. And, you know, his stock may be a little bit low because these numbers are not well. So if you think he's a player that he can be, you know, a star in the making for the going forward, is potentially a player you want to keep an eye out for. Next player to focus on is going to be Wyatt Langford from the Texas Rangers. Now, I chose him obviously over Evan Carter because Wyatt Langford has been healthy. Evan Carter has been dealing with the back issue and has kept him out for the last month or so, last couple of weeks. So that's why I put Wyatt Langford over Evan Carter. And then personally, I favor Langford over Evan Carter. So, but let's see here what he's currently doing right now. So in this season here, has 51 games under his belt, 2 home runs, 26 RBIs, hitting 249, walk percentage sitting at 7.2%, and K percentage sitting at 20.8. So not as high as Rafaela. Walks is a little bit higher as well. So it's pretty, you know, comparable there to Rafaela as well. Base percentage sitting at 309, OPS sitting at 658. ISO 101, so like I mentioned, you want to see that at 200. BABIP sitting at 310, WOBA 291, WAR only at 0.1. WRC plus in at 85, and it's pretty respectable hard hit percentage there. And again, looking at Baseball Savant, a lot of blue. You can see the bat speed is up there. He's not chasing, which is very interesting that he has that many strikeouts here. And he's not chasing. I've been seeing, from what I've seen when watching Texas Rangers games or just clips on Twitter, it looks like he has been kind of unlucky with his strike zone. I'm pretty sure there's some numbers there that you could find on that, but from what I've seen, he's been getting called, you know, being called out on strikes on pitches outside of the zone. So that is something you want to keep an eye out for that potentially has this number a little bit inflated. Now, I am so high on Langford despite these numbers here because when you look at his minor league levels, he didn't have a lot of experience in the minor league. He got drafted in 2023 and already went up to single A, double A, triple A, and only had, you know, less than 100 games between all those 3 levels. And you can see here, he put up high numbers. I mean, 405 in double A, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, walking 20.4 of the time, not striking out as much, 13%. We saw that a little bit higher in AAA just in 5 games. But these, when you're putting up those numbers, you know, that is a good sign that you can do this at a pretty good level. Obviously, not a lot of plate appearances, not a lot of games. So I'm thinking here this is a player that you got to be patient with. If you believe in Langford, is something that you want to keep an eye out for moving forward. Next player to cover is going to be Jackson Merritt from the San Diego Padres. Now, Jackson Merritt has been on a hot streak as of late. He was obviously here in the short print of Series 2, which if you didn't see my TikTok here, link down in the description down below to my TikTok page if you guys want to check that out. I did pull his short print card, so happy to have really pulled that. But yeah, Jackson Merritt the last couple of weeks or so has been putting up some really good numbers here, and we can take a look at his numbers here as a overall as a whole. So in 76 games, has 9 home runs, which I feel like he's hit half of those in just these last 3 weeks alone. Has driven in 32, has a batting average of 281, walk percentage sitting at 4.8%, K percentage sitting at 16.1. So when you compare that to Langford and Rafaela, is considerably lower compared to those players. On base percentage sitting at 317, slugging over 426, OPS sitting at 743. ISO 145, BABIP and WOBA pretty similar there. Has accumulated to closer to WAR, which is going to be because of his defense and his fielding value. His defense there, he is a pretty exceptional defensive player, so that's definitely contributing to his his WAR. WRC plus in at 114, so he is above league average there, so it is pretty impressive. And expected batting average in at 292. So when you look at those numbers here, you can see that he's, from what he's performing on the field, is pretty well compared to the other players that we saw here. And again, putting that over to Savant, we're seeing a lot of reds here. So sitting at 73%, 93 percentile, 82 percentile, exit velo sitting at 89.8. And you can see here the fielding as well, all on the red. So that's obviously contributing here to this WAR. And you can see here is a pretty fast player. You can see that was stolen bases with 9. Into some news and notes here with him. He does lead all the rookies in home runs with 9 and a second in batting average. So Jackson Merritt, again, making some strides here the last few weeks or so, and is a player you want to keep an eye out for. So if you pull his cards with what he's been doing, is a pretty good flip here if you do pull some of his cards. The next Jackson we're going to be talking about here is going to be Jackson Cheerio from the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, Jackson Cheerio, as we can see here by the graph here in Savant, has been a struggle, but I am still a believer in Jackson Cheerio. He is only 20 years old, so he's still, and like a lot of these players here, are still very extremely young and have the time to adjust to the major league level. So I'm not worried about Jackson Cheerio, but taking a look at his numbers here as a whole, has 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, only hitting at 226. Strikeout percentage is a little bit alarming, but again, we're going to see that from these types of players sitting at 26.1%. OPS sitting below 700, ISO 130, BABIP and WOBA pretty similar. WAR sitting at nearly 1, and again, it's going to be because of what he brings defensively and what he brings on the base pass. WRC plus sitting at 77, and his art hit percentage sitting at 40.8. And so, yeah, when you look at the Savant page, not pretty. Expected batting average 227, expected slugging 347. So sitting between 15-20% on the percentiles here. His swinging, his bat speed is fine. His exit velo is sitting at 87.9. So again, these numbers are not going to be great, but when you look at the defensive value, it's pretty good. Now, as far as why I am still high on Jackson Cheerio, and his stock here may be low. It's just because what he did down in AAA, or not, I'm sorry, yeah, brief stint here in AAA, and what he did here in AA as well. So AA here is he in 2023 had 122 games, 22 home runs, scored 84 runs, drove in 89. So I think he has the potential to be a 30-30 player. Walk percentage here, I always, again, like to see this here over 10. So weren't seeing that, but the K percentage below 20, which is pretty good, at least for his type of player, 18.4 and 14.2. ISO at 186, again, like seeing at 200, average 280, on base percentage 336, slugging 467 with the WOBA 358 and WRC plus over 100. So when you look at these numbers, you know, I believe here he's still going to be a fantastic player to come. He hasn't put it all together as far as of right now, but I think it's a player that you want to keep an eye out for moving forward. Now, going back to pitchers here, we're going to be talking about another Japanese star. It's going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, obviously here having the biggest contract of all major league pitchers here, he's going to have some backing here and a lot of pressure coming to him, but has performed pretty well before his current injury. We'll go over that here in a little bit. Before his injury, he was sitting at 6-2 with an ERA of 2.92 and 74 innings pitched, striking out over nearly 10 batters per start and walking 2.7, keeping average here at 219 with a whip nearly below 1, BABIP at 290, and with already accumulating of WAR 2.1. His expected FIP is 2.84, and his actual FIP is 2.66. So you can see here as translated pretty well as far as what he's doing right now here in the major. A lot of these numbers here, again, were kind of a little bit inflated due to that one best start that he had. I believe it was in Seoul, Korea, I believe is where they had their first start, which again probably had a lot of nerves, his first start, and definitely I think a lot of pressure on him as well, but has translated pretty well, has recovered pretty well, and these are pretty respectable numbers before the injury. And then again, when looking here at the fastball velo, and you compare that to Shota, a lot more red as far as the velo. I'm sitting at 95.4%, expected ERA 3.12, K percentage 27.9, walk percentage 5.6. So you can see here a little bit more red than Shota. But the thing here you want to keep an eye out here with the fastball is with the current injury. So right now he is currently out with the right rotator cuff strain, which is obviously his throwing shoulder. In his last start here against the Kansas City Royals, he only threw 28 pitches, 14 were fastballs, but they were only this fastball miles per hour percentage here was 94.1. So a little bit lower than his typical 95.4 miles per hour. So it's something here that when he comes back, if you're following Yoshinobu Yamamoto and you're following his cards, you're following him as a player, it's something you want to keep an eye out for. Obviously, he has logged in a lot of innings when you talk about his Japan stats and what he's doing right now. So the fastball, miles per hour, is something you want to keep an eye out for. Now, the next Jackson here we're going to go back to is going to be Jackson Holliday from the Baltimore Orioles. Now, I did not throw his savant page because obviously he only had 10 games and they were all blue. So there's no reason for me to put that on here. Obviously here, a guy caught up to the majors here, had 10 games under his belt, and it was not pretty. He had 36 plate appearances, had no home runs, drove in one run, had 2 walks and 18 strikeouts, so striking out nearly 50%, or not nearly, striking out 50% of his at-bats and walking only at 5.6%. So there's no reason to go deeper into those numbers. They obviously were not good. Now, I am still a believer in Jackson Holliday like many others. He is going to be an exceptional talent. I'm not worried about him at all because, again, when you look at the minor league numbers here, you can see here has translated well, and he's only, once again, 20 years old. So he's going to make the adjustments. He's going to be fine. He is currently on disabled this year with elbow inflammation. Maybe that played something into it. I really don't know. I just think when I was watching him play, he debuted against the Red Sox and following him after that, he just looked like he was pressing. He was swinging out of his zone, swinging out of his comfort. So I just think there's a lot of things here going on with him as far as a pressure and just putting a little bit more pressure on himself as far as of that. And obviously coming from the Holiday family, I'm pretty sure with all that media attention and all that stuff, it affects you as a player. There's no denying that. And again, you can see here down in AAA as far as what he's doing right now or what he did before his injury. 7 home runs, drove in 28, and he had 270 batting average, walk percentage 22%, which again, I like seeing anything over 10. So the fact that he's at 22%, very exceptional. K percentage there sitting at 22%, so not as high as the others. On base percentage sitting at 433, OPS sitting at 898, ISO 196, so just below the 200, BABIP over 300, WOBA over 400, WRC plus sitting over sitting at 140. So I'm a believer in Jackson Holliday. I think he should be too as well. His cards are still performing well. Of course, we have the very cool Billy Ripken style cards here with the fun phase, the bat knob, so and Top Series 2, which were also part of the short print, along with Jackson Cheerio, Wyatt Langford, and Jackson Merrill. So any Jackson Holliday card that you're pulling out of Chrome, I think will be a very good card to pull. And last but not least here, the top rookie you want to keep an eye out here in this set is going to be Elly De La Cruz from the Cincinnati Reds. Now, this is what he's done so far right now in his first full season. He's not considered a rookie by Major League standards, but of course in Topps, these are his first series of cards coming in flagship. So he is considered a rookie in Topps standards. I feel like he's been in the league for a long time now, just considering all the hype that he had around him. But considering what he's doing right now in this year, so he has 12 home runs and has driven in 31, has walked 37. The big thing here is going to be the strikeouts. He is sitting at 100 strikeouts with a strikeout percentage of 31.5, which he leads the league in. So he leads the league in strikeouts. So it's something that is pretty alarming, but when he's putting the bat on the ball, he's hitting it because he obviously has 12 home runs. The OPS sitting nearly 800, which is pretty good. ISO 200, which is pretty good. The BABIP, WOBA, pretty good as well. WAR sitting at 2.8 is going to be because of his defensive value and playing a premier shortstop, playing a premier defensive position like shortstop, and at his height, is pretty impressive. And his WRC plus is at 112, so it is over league average. And again, when he puts the bat to the ball, he's hitting it hard. You can see here 43.8%. All those balls hit are over 95 miles per hour. So you see here the exit velo sitting at 91.5. He swings a fast bat here. It has a pretty high barrel percentage, and his hard hit percentage is pretty good as well. Obviously here, like we just mentioned here, it does strike out quite a bit. So that's something here that you do want to keep an eye out for moving forward. But even correlated to that, the walks, 11.7. Like I just mentioned here, anything over 10 is good. So the fact that he's at 11.7 is pretty impressive. And of course, the speed is something you want to take a look at here. 30.1. It does lead the league here in stolen bases. Now, these are, I think, just a brief touch of what he can do, because when you look at the AAA numbers, you look at the minor league numbers, he was putting up numbers, exceptional numbers left and right. 12 home runs, 36 RBIs, 297 batting average, K percentage a little bit closer to that 30, but 26.9. On base percentage at 398, OPS over 1,000, ISO over 300, BABIP, WOBA all over league averages. So Elly De La Cruz, still an exciting player. I think he's just briefly touched upon what he can do. There is still a lot of room for growth. Again, sitting at only coming in at 22 years old. So a lot of room for growth. It's going to be an exciting player to watch for years to come. So that was my list here of the top rookies here in this year's Topps Chrome set. Now, like I mentioned here, this is a very, very loaded set. There's a lot of rookies here that I didn't even mention in my honorable mentions that you can talk about. You can talk about Wilger Abreu, Jung Ho Lee, Hester Kersat, Jordan Westerberg. There's a lot of rookies here in the set that I just did not cover or put in my honorable mentions list. But I again will highly recommend here you guys do your own research and look up your own rookies and sign up in the comments down below. Is there a rookie that I missed, or is there a rookie that you're high on? I want to get your guys' opinion. Please feel free to sign up in the comments down below, or feel free to communicate with me on my other social medias. All going to be linked down in the description down below. I am a little more active on Twitter, or if you want to call it X. So if you guys want to follow me there, link down in the description down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up on this video, and please feel free to subscribe to the channel. It is a free way to help support the channel. We're close and pushing towards the goal of 500 subscribers. Again, once we do hit 500, I will be doing a giveaway of either a slab or a raw Elly De La Cruz card. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe, and thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.